welcome to the show.
And welcome back to another episode of the Astros Future podcast here on the Believe Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Price, also known as Astros Future. You can find my work at astrosfuture.com. Find me on X at Astros Future. Today on the show, going solo right now. I think Kenny's actually on a plane right now, but we just wanted to do a quick, really a recap of the minor league season at this point. The All-Star break just passed, the Futures game, the draft, which we will have a draft recap show coming up here in just a couple days. But really just wanted to take a look back at the first half of the minor league season, take a look at some of the prospects that are doing well, talk about some of the minor league teams, and just kind of recap what we've done so far this year as a system. So first thing I want to do is I put out an article recently. It was just the Astros midseason All-Star minor league All-Star team. So I'll kind of just use that as my go-by. So we'll just kind of go position by position. You know, the overall records, if you look at the records of Sugar Land all the way down to Fayetteville, they weren't great. But the second half of the season is probably about 2 weeks in, and actually it's been a lot better with most teams over 500 at this point. So looking at the minor league midseason All-Star team, we'll start with the position of catcher. Couple guys that are performing well here, and maybe one that jumped off the screen that we probably didn't expect. I think a name many people probably hope would be there would be Walker Yannick, but the one that really stood out was Jason Schiavone. Had a phenomenal season to this point so far. You know, he started in Asheville, and it felt like he was homering in basically every other game. But 17 home runs in 35 games, got that promotion to Double-A. He's hit 6 more homers, and I think if you look at his Double-A numbers, and maybe they're not nearly as eye-popping as it was in Asheville, but they're still pretty good numbers. An OPS of almost 800, 6 home runs, 12 stolen bases. So up on the season, he's got 23 home runs, 60 RBIs, 21 stolen bases. I think what's really cool to see too is not that he was bad at throwing base runners out in high A, but since he's gone to Double-A, he's thrown out 50% of base runners, and we know how important that is, and we know the Astros struggles they've had with holding runners on and throwing guys out. So Jason Schiavone for sure would take over catcher. There's another guy that name would probably pop up at the catching position, but he'll be in a later position. So we'll move down to first base. A couple guys we could have went with here, but I went with Drew Butcher. He was signed by the Astros in March of 25. So technically, I guess, an undrafted free agent. He didn't get drafted in the 24 draft, went and played some independent ball. The Astros signed him. Had a nice year last year, made it up to high A, and then had a little bit of struggles there. But this year he started out in high A, hit 266 over 33 games. Numbers were decent, but nothing that really jumped off the screen, I guess. And then he makes it up to Double-A and just has absolutely destroyed the ball up there. He's hitting 350 with 10 doubles, 4 homers in 29 games in Double-A for the Hooks. Unfortunately, he did end up on the injured list. I don't really know what the injury is right now. Not a lot of information on minor league injuries, but Butcher having a phenomenal season, hitting 304, weighted runs created plus of 132. Like I said, He's a guy that has some pretty good raw power. It just seems like it's a little bit harder for him to get into it. But 7 homers, 16 doubles, really good season for him. Moving down to second base, I went with Pascal Ferreras, another guy who, when he got that promotion, took his game to a new level. He was in Double-A to start the season, hit 263, 3 homers. Then he got promoted to Sugar Land, and he's been phenomenal. And he's hitting 366 with 11 doubles, 2 homers, 27 runs batted in there. Overall hitting 318, and he was – Mr. Irrelevant back in 2023, the last pick of the draft. The Astros had the last pick from winning the 2022 World Series. And for him to make it all the way to AAA at this point is already pretty impressive. And really with the versatility he has, he plays all over the infield, second base, third base, shortstop. He's probably a guy that's going to get an opportunity at some point on a big league roster, hopefully with the Astros, if not with somebody else. But that's been a great year for him. 16 doubles, 5 homers, hitting 318 overall now, splitting time between Double-A and AAA. So next one, I went down third base. A lot of people might be thinking Xavier Nyans here, and he is on the list. But to get the best producers here, I put Nyans at shortstop. So a little bit of a spoiler for that one. But for third base, I went with Trevor Austin, another really good find by the Astros. Signed as an undrafted free agent. He's got 18 doubles, 11 homers this year, 831 OPS, and he's played 4 different positions with most of his time coming at third base. But I think he's played a little outfield, all over the infield. 122 weighted runs created plus, and like I said, he's got some pop, and we just saw it with Lucas Spence, who made it up to the major leagues, got his call up, and was an undrafted free agent and made his way up there. There's value in those picks, and the Astros, or those signings, and the Astros have done really well, with some of these undrafted free agents. Trevor Austin now in Double A having a good season. There's another one that'll pop up on the list. So we'll move down to shortstop. Like I said, Xavier Nyans. Hard to not see him on this roster after what he's done this season. Started the year in Single A and was phenomenal. 19 years old, 14 homers, walk rate of like 26%. Hitting 240. When you look at that, you may be a little disappointed, but he's got a 450 on base percentage. So pretty insane numbers. Stealing some bases too, 16 stolen bases. Has the best weighted runs created plus in the Astros system for anyone that's had about 200 or 300 plate appearances to this point. He was just recently promoted to Asheville, and I know in his first at bat he had a double. I think he had an 0 for last night, but Astros first round pick in 2025, and it's hard to predict would have been hard to predict a better start to his professional career, especially coming out of high school with with what he knew he was going to be able to do: power, patience. And he's done just that. The 14 home runs. The Fayetteville record actually is 15 home runs. Anthony Huezo and Xavier Nyans were at 14, and they both got promoted to high A. So we'll see if somebody else will have to take that one. But Xavier Nyans, great start to the season. So I'll go to the outfield. I just talked about Anthony Huezo. Here he is, 12th round pick by the Astros in 2023. Battled in rookie ball a couple of years. Kind of had a little bit of a breakout late last year. And then this year for Fayetteville, he's been really, really good. Hitting 247. Once again, you look at the average, it's a little bit lower. He slumped a little bit towards the end of the first half there, but leads the system with 20 doubles, 4 triples, the 14 home runs, 30 stolen bases. The guy just hits extra base hits, and all he's got, not including what he's done in Nashville, which he did homer in his first game, and all he's got 20 doubles, 24, 30, almost 40 extra base hits in 70-something games, 30 stolen bases. Really, he's 20. He's still only just 20 years old, twitchy athlete, and I have really high expectations for him. I think there'll be a little bit of a growing pain when he gets in Asheville, just facing a little bit better pitchers, but really, really good prospect. So going down another outfield position, 11th round pick from last year, 2025, Justin Thomas Jr., drafted out of Arkansas, but had a pretty interesting route to pro ball. He played with 3 different programs before getting drafted. He was with Georgia, and then I'm blanking on the second one, and then he went to Arkansas. With 3 different programs, gets drafted. He's with the Astros in the first half of the season. Hit 263, 16 doubles, 12 homers, 24 stolen bases, walked a lot. Strikeouts were a little bit of an issue for him, but because he's an aggressive hitter, and I'll have a piece coming out on him later this week or maybe the week after that. But same thing as Huezo and some of these other guys. Does a lot of damage, draws a lot of walks, steals bases, which has kind of really been the trend for the Astros this season in the minors. The last outfielder I went with was Neymar Ochoa. Unfortunately, he did just get injured. He's on the injured list, but had a really good season. We know the story. Kenny did a great story on him last year when in spring training he had a freak accident and ended up missing some time and just could never really get it rolling. And then this year he's back at it. So 287 through 64 games, 17 doubles, 11 homers, 29 stolen bases, which is really awesome to see from a guy that his size. I think he's listed at like 6'4", 230. Just a really good season for him. Super pumped. He was drafted in the 11th round in 2023. Huezo was the 12th rounder. So actually, if you look at the outfielders, you got Huezo was a 12th rounder, Justin Thomas 11th round, and then Neymar Ochoa 11th round is the ones who made my list here. And there's a few others I'll talk about after we get through the list that I've put together. Jumping down to designated hitter, and this is where I mentioned another guy that could have maybe fit at first or catcher, but I went with Will Bush. And 22 years old, went junior college, Tyler Junior College, got drafted by the Astros, kind of worked his way up. And he got off to a hot start, slowed down a little bit with the injury, but then he started to tear it up again a little bit. So he's at 268 for the season, 10 homers, weighted runs created plus of 130. I think last year he was towards the top. So he's had back-to-back years where he's had a good season, shown some power, draws walks. And at this point, if he continues how he's doing, he'll probably be in AAA here pretty soon. The pitching side is pretty interesting. It's a little different than we've seen from the Astros in the past, where they've had some really, really like dominant pitching lines. I think they've just drafted a different style of pitcher recently, but there's been some really good ones. Javier Perez was the first one that ended up on my list here. Just so he had a start since I put this together. He started on Saturday night, but Perez has had a phenomenal season. 3.17 ERA, 13 walks to 89 strikeouts, which is really cool to see because the Astros have. It feels like recently some of their pitchers have had some command issues, and Perez, that's the opposite. 13 walks in 76 innings. Like I said, 3.17 ERA. He's had some absolute dominant starts, and I think it's only a matter of time before he's up in high A. The next one on the list was a pick that I had as a possible breakout prospect, and Cole Hertzler got off to a phenomenal start with Asheville. I think he had a 2.72 ERA over 10 starts. He's promoted to Corpus Christi. He's got a 2.97 ERA over 5 starts. He struggled to go deep into games a little bit, but at the same time, he's still not giving up hits. He's only allowed 34 hits in 62 innings, and that's kind of one stat I like to look at. And we don't get all the advanced stats in the minor leagues, but one, do you strike guys out, and two, are you good at not allowing hits? I think that says a lot. We saw that with Miguel Ulola as a starter. He's transitioned to the pen, but Cole Hertzler, 34 hits in 62 innings, really good to see. The next one I got on the list, Bryce Mayer. He was the Astros minor league pitcher of the year in 2025. Another steal, 16th round pick. He's been really good this year. When I wrote this, he had a 3.46 ERA, 74 strikeouts in 52 innings. Last night, Saturday night, he struck out 8 over 5 scoreless. So he's already, I think he's down to a 3.15 ERA, 82 strikeouts over 57 innings. And same thing, he hasn't allowed many hits. 36 hits in 52 innings. I think he's now up to 38 hits in 57 innings. So really good to see from him. Talking about undrafted free agents, the next one on my list, I got Jagger Beck. Undrafted after 2024, signed at 17 years old. And he's had a breakout year, 2.91 ERA, 62 strikeouts over 52 innings. Just really good numbers. And, what's cool to see from him, and I don't remember exactly what he was at in high school, but he's up to like 96 now. And he's kind of had that progression that you would hope to see from a guy his size, 6'6", 17 years old. And the Astros have been able to elevate him to that next level. So legitimate prospect there. Last one on my list here. They were in no particular order, just as they came up. But Nick Potter, 5th round pick last year by the Astros. He was a closer for Wichita State. Electric stuff, up to 98, potentially up to 100 miles per hour. And the Astros have converted him to starter. So he's at 49 innings right now. Actually, he's at 51 innings right now. ERA of 2.10, which is insanely dominant. Allowed just 32 hits. But the reason his innings is not as high as some of these other guys is he's kind of had to slowly work his way up, going from closer to now starter. So early on, he was at 30 pitches, 40 pitches, 50 pitches. And he's up into that 75 range. But electric stuff. Once again, not allowing a lot of hits, 2.10 ERA. He's got the stats to earn the promotion to high A. At this point, I think it's just a matter of time. Like I said, the Astros are stretching him out. That was my list for the Astros midseason minor league all-star team, if you want to call it that. Just really the guys that perform the best. But like I said, I'm not able to get everybody on that list. There's a few others I'd like to throw little shout-outs to here and there. But another one that kind of came up, Chase Call, drafted by the Astros last year. He's got some swing and miss there. He strikes out quite a bit, but he also does a lot of damage. 19 homers, 15 doubles, 18 stolen bases for Asheville. Just recently got promoted to Double-A. Another guy I wanted to make a mention of, Arturo Flores. That was an interesting route to pro ball. He played high school baseball in Las Vegas, didn't get drafted, went to Mexico, signed with a team there, played for about a year, I believe, before the Astros signed him. They bring him into the minor league system, so kind of feels like a undrafted free agent, another one. And 20-year-old in single A right now. He's hitting 245, OPS over 800, 13 home runs, which is really nice to see from a young catcher. I mean, he's got some big time pop. Like when he hits it, he does some serious damage. Caden Powell was another that drew some mention. Last year had a nice year, drafted out of junior college in 2024, but ended up getting injured. And it kind of hurt his power early in the season, but he got hot and it kind of came back. He's got 11 doubles, 11 homers, 21 stolen bases, hitting 289 through 71 games, 22-year-old now in high A. And probably at some point this year, I think towards the end of the year, we'll end up seeing him in Double-A. But it's been a really, really good season for him. A couple other guys I want to mention that maybe didn't have the overall numbers to get on an all-star team, if you will, but have definitely have some fanfare and people have questions about him. But Ethan Fry, he had a rough April. I think he hit like 230, but then he had a great May, 293, 8 doubles, 4 homers. And then 3 games into June, I think he ended up getting hurt trying to score on a wild pitch. But he's back now. He's got 7 homers, 42 RBIs, hitting 278 overall between what he's done in high A and then a couple games he had rehab in the FCL. So not a bad season for him. I think some people expected him to maybe take that next step where he's like a top 100 prospect. And I think the potential is there. Got off to a slow start, but he's been back for 2 games, Friday, Saturday. And I think he had a home run. He's got 5 hits or 4 hits between the 2 games. So really good to have him back in Asheville. Kevin Alvarez, Astros representative for the All-Star Futures game, hitting 271, 20 doubles, 7 home runs, 11 stolen bases. He didn't have the numbers, I think, to get up there with the three that I listed as the all-stars with Huezo, Thomas, and Ochoa. But he's had a really good season as an 18-year-old. And I think he's done exactly kind of what you'd expect. He makes a lot of contact, doubles hitter. But like I said, 18 years old with his frame, he's going to grow into some more power. And I think, I think he's going to be able to move up the ladder and be a top prospect. So I know some people alternate between him and Nyans as to who the top guy is. You could go either way. Two really, really good prospects. Another one I want to make a mention of, I thought had a pretty cool season. And, we don't have any defensive stats other than errors. We don't get any of the crazy defensive stats, especially at the lower level. But Max Holley, another undrafted free agent, made it up to AA this year, 31 stolen bases, 6 home runs. Doesn't do a ton of damage with the bat, but is really, really good defensively. I think Baseball America, I think they had him rated like a 70 defense, which is really strong up the middle. So I don't know what his ceiling might be with the bat, but we know guys that can really play, well defensively, especially up the middle, shortstop, second base. You look at a guy like Nick Allen on the Astros, where he doesn't provide a ton with the bat, doesn't have a lot of power, but really good defensively. They've been able to carve out roles. So I could see something like that kind of happening with Max Holley. So let's go look at a few pitchers that maybe I didn't get a mention on here that probably deserve some mention in terms of the mid-seasons. Jackson Nazu, another really good pick the Astros made. Just recently got promoted to AAA, 24 years old. Had his first start last night. I think he gave up 2 or 3 runs in 4 innings, but he's racked up 81 strikeouts over 70 innings, so really good for him. Miguel Ulola, if I was going straight relievers and only looking at his time in relief, he'd have to be on there. I know that's one me and Kenny talked about probably a few years ago. Like, I don't know why the Astros just don't convert him to relief right now, and they gave him every chance to start. He had some really good numbers, but the command issues were a little bit of a problem. And since he's gone to the pen, I mean, he's been dominant. I posted the numbers the other day. I think he's at like a 1.39 ERA over his last maybe 20 innings in relief with like 30 strikeouts. And I think he's only walked 6. So the command issues that kind of popped up when he was as a starter have kind of gone away this year when he's moved to the pen. Brett Gillis, another one, 3.96 ERA over 72.2 innings. He kind of caught a little fanfare when he was in Arizona Fall League. They have StatCast over there, or TrackMan, whatever you want to call it. And they were able to get the numbers on him. And I think he hit like 100.2, something like that. So the guy can obviously throw it really well. He's 26 years old in AA, probably going to be in AAA here pretty soon. But he's had some injury issues, and now he's back healthy. 72 innings, only allowed 58 hits. So really good numbers from him. But overall, I mean, the Astros system, if you go look, like I said, you look at the records, the combined records, it's right around 500 when mixing in the Florida Complex League Astros and the Dominican Summer League Astros. By the way, the FCL Astros, they're 38-11, which is impressive. They've already clinched their division, and they've been really, really good. And it's not like only rehab guys going there. I mean, they've had a few rehab guys, but they've just had a ton of players that are playing really well. Let's pull up their roster here. Like I said, the Woodpeckers are just above 500. Asheville started off the season really, really bad. The Hooks just below. Sugarland right at 500. But the way the minor league season works is second half season starts, and it's basically a blank slate. If you win the second half, you make the playoffs. You can also win the first half, make the playoffs. But at this point, I think Asheville is first in the second half of the season. So, I mean, they could have a terrible first half of the season, do well in the second half and make the playoffs. And that's kind of what they're on track to do right now. But all the Astros teams have actually had a really good second half. So the FCL Astros, let's talk about a few guys that have really performed well there, not including some of the rehab. So I'm looking here, like the first one that popped up, I saw Walker Yannick. Struggled in AA, got hurt. He played in 12 rehab games in the FCL, and he had 3 homers, hit 353. But Luis De Leon is one that I think a lot of people have had an eye on. He's hitting 400 over 35 games, 8 doubles, 4 home runs, 22 RBIs, more walks than strikeouts. I think it's only a matter of time before we see him in Fayetteville. The FCL season does end sooner than the Woodpecker season, so I could also see them at the end of the season with De Leon or someone like that getting bumped up to Fayetteville. A couple of years ago, the Astros drafted an outfielder, Ethan Wagner, out of high school. They ended up signing him. He played last year in the FCL. This year, he started in the FCL, and he was doing really well. He had a 921 OPS, more walks than strikeouts, just 13 walks to 12 strikeouts in 17 games. Ended up getting hurt. Don't know what the injury is. I don't know if he's going to be back this year, but wanted to give him a shout out because, like I said, I think he's had a pretty good start to his season there. But yeah, like overall, Jace Mitchell, another one they drafted last year. really crazy numbers when you look at it. He's got a 700, over 700 OPS. He's hitting 163. And I know you look at that and you're like, holy crap, that's a wide range. He's got a 463 on base percentage. It's because he's drawn 50 walks in 39 games. He doesn't have a homer yet, so he hasn't really gotten into the power. But he's extremely patient. And if guys are going to walk him, he's going to gladly take the walk. So interesting to see that. We'll see where the Astros go with some of their draft picks this year, which, like I said, tomorrow we'll be recording a draft recap show, which will come out later this week. But all in all, I just wanted to do a recap of the first half of the season. Someone asked me the other day, it feels like there's more depth in the system right now than to start the season. And I mean, that could be the case. I think we just had some guys break out. We saw Lucas Spence had a good year last year, make his way up. He got his big league call up, and then just a few others. And it's been a pretty good season. The Astros are kind of rebuilding the system, if you will, with what they did last year, what they've done in the draft this year. We'll see what they do at the trade deadline. I know there's a lot of differing opinions. We'll really get into that on this show, but they have the ability to trade some guys and really truly rebuild the system if that's the route they want to take. But like I said, all in all, I think it's been a good start to the season. If you look at where they were to start the year, I think they were probably ranked 29th or 30th. And their top prospects have done what we've expected. Xavier Nyans, Kevin Alvarez are top 100 guys. And hopefully a few more of these prospects start doing well. Ethan Fry back in Nashville picks it up. He'll be on a top 100 list as well. And then we'll have a few top 100 guys. Maybe a few of the draftees from this year will break out and get on there as well. But been a good year. We're second half going. Hopefully we'll get a few teams in the playoffs, a few minor league teams in the playoffs, and that'll be fun to watch. But that's all I got for this show. Appreciate y'all joining in. Be sure to like and follow the show. Leave 5 stars if you can, wherever you get your podcast. We really appreciate it. Any comments, we love to hear the feedback. So appreciate y'all listening. We look forward to having you back for the next episode of the Astros Future podcast, covering your Astros in the minor league system.